one of those. Again, our referee tonight is Kenny Ritchie. And we're going to open the night with a forfeit. Brandon Mason out. Shakes the referee's hand. They raise his hand. There's a forfeit, and the Cowboys lead the duel 6-0. We'll go straight to 184. Jack Jensen for the Cowboys against Bryson French.
Not sure why Lee forfeit. He wrestled last night, got beat by Whiteful from OU. But, of course, Brandon pinned him in 47 seconds in the Reno tournament, so that might have had something to do with maybe his knee hurt or his shoulder hurt or had a headache.
Well, we are underway. Again, the Cowboys up 6-0 with a forfeit at 174. We had 184. Jack Jensen, who was one of the Cowboy heroes on Friday night. There's a shot in underneath French in on the single. Jensen able to get his hips down and get him off of that leg. And the two wrestlers on their feet back even in the center of the big orange mat here at Gallagher-Iba Arena. A decent turnout. And a few of the fans still filing in here for this duel between the Cowboys and the Ducks. There's a long shot and an ankle pick. And, again, Jensen able to get French off the leg, but two pretty good shots by French. Got in on the single there, the ankle pick, and almost had that picked up. Jack able to recover. Now Jack makes a long shot, but off the edge of the mat out of bounds.
Yeah, a great win for Jack on Friday night. Just had a lot of, kind of like Newley, had a lot of tough, close losses, and Keedy from Iowa beat him up with the national duels, and he should have beat number 5 Raymond Jordan of Missouri in that Sunday match. Didn't get a call at the end, lost a 4-3 match to the 5th-ranked wrestler in the country, and then came back on Friday with just a good, tough, solid, got that third period takedown to beat Keedy, and it's important for him to kind of keep that momentum going. This is the guy he should go out and take it to him. But early on, he's been on the defensive because, yeah, French is a couple of low-level shots, but Jack's played some pretty good defense. But like I said, Jack, it's important for Jack to really remain aggressive.
Well, again, Jack coming forward, but we really haven't seen him one long-range shot. It was not set up very well, and it didn't cost him anything. But other than that, looks like he's trying to figure out a way to get a little offense going. He's fought off 2 solid takedown attempts by French. There's a shot by Jensen in on the single leg. Has the leg tied up, French back over the top, grabbing him around the waist. Jack on his knees with his head, looking at the backside there, and upside down, hanging on to the ankles is Bryson French. Jack's going to give that up. That's a stalemate situation, and well, they're going to give a point.
He must flee in the mat. Well, he scissored the legs, I guess.
Okay.
Over the top, so
come back to the center of the match, mat, and looks like Jack will have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, must just momentarily scissor the legs around the head there, which is illegal. French, one of the 6 freshmen in Chuck Kearney's lineup.
There's a double leg shot by French, but Jensen comes out of it with an ankle and the takedown. Wow.
That's how that crocodile roll is supposed to work. Carried the momentum right through, went underneath, was at a great shot, but just Jack countered it, kind of jumps underneath and just rolls right through.
No break in the action.
Yeah. A lot of those guys go for the stalemate there. They crocodile roll and then jump down their ankle and just hang on. Jack just rolled it on through and
came out with 2 points and a 3-0 lead, trying to get to his feet is French. And what a nice recovery by Jensen, because that was a perfect double-leg takedown attempt, and you wind up giving up 2 points as the buzzer sounds in the first period.
Now, these guys had some common opponents. French beat Yuri Kalika from Cal Poly. I think Jack lost to Kalika, did he, at the end of the Cal Poly duel, if I remember right?
I have to look that up.
Common opponent, that was way back in December. But I know Jack wrestled Yuri Kalika. And the 184, no, Jack beat him 6-1. My apologies to the Jensen family.
And the Jack fan club, as he gets to his feet from the bottom position, he's out, scores the escape, and they're off the edge of the mat. Jack Jensen with a quick escape. We're in period number 2. Jack starting down is up and out, and he's got a 4-0 lead.
We'll get this right, though. This kid, French, lost a 4-2 decision to Ian Murphy from Cal State Fullerton. Remember him from the Reno tournament. Pinned Jack in about 50 seconds. Lost a 4-2 decision to him. So obviously we've seen this French, only a freshman. Like I said, he's got some skills. He's right in this match.
Well, and again, Jack 15-10. French 14-9 coming in.
A little bit of difference, strength of schedule there most likely. But like I said, you can tell this kid got some skills.
Kenny Ritchie will stop the action there, talking to Jensen about something out for that front headlock. They were tied up in the upper body. Jensen with a 4-0 lead. Riding time right now is not a factor. We're in period number 2. There's a shot by French. Nothing there. Now shoots again. Trying to shoot in on a single leg. And Jack able to get his hips down. And Jack's had some very good defensive maneuvers and a great counter move that resulted in a first period takedown. But he hasn't really initiated anything himself.
A lot of that's due to French. French is the one that's working off the ties and had some good shots, been pretty aggressive. Actually, Jack hadn't really had a chance to set anything up because this kid's, like I said, been doing a pretty good job so far on his feet.
Two wrestlers just leaning on each other forehead to forehead. There's Jack in underneath now. Gets in on the single leg. Picks up the right leg. Fritz trying to fight him off. Jack trying to kick that other leg out from under him. Still has that right leg picked up. They drift toward the edge of the mat. John Smith saying, get back to the center of the mat. 20 seconds to go. Jack's going to grab both legs and scores. Take down at the edge of the mat. And they're outside the boundary line with 16 seconds to go in the period. A 6-0 lead.
Good timing for Jack. Got hit with stalling there right before his first shot of the match, more or less. That was his first shot. Good low-level shot. Picked it up and remained patient right on the edge of the mat. Drove right through, secured the other leg, and he's in control here. We're talking about Jack going out and hammering people. I mean, Jack's just not one of those guys. I mean, he's, from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. He's going to go out and he's going to put in a day's work, and he's not going to thrill you with lateral drops and 5-point moves. That's just what he does. He's just like I said, he just kind of wrestles like a kid from Wisconsin would, I think.
In the down position. As the time runs out in the second period, Bryson French, but Jack able to ride him out the rest of the way, and Jack's now got 40 seconds in his favor on the riding time clock to go with a 6-0 lead.
And not as festive in here as it was on Friday, but pretty good crowd considering it's a Sunday afternoon and got your NFL championship games kicking off. It's a good little crowd here.
Down position again, French, as we start the third period, and he's up, but he's out with the escape. Jack's got 45 seconds of riding time as he cuts him loose, and a 6-1 lead on the board. We're in the third period at 184. In case you just joined us, the Cowboys with a forfeit at 174, already up 6-0. Jensen, a low single, got that ankle picked up, but turning, kicking that leg free is French, and Jack right back in. Picks it up again, trips him to the mat, and has his takedown.
Good job by Jack. It comes down to third period conditioning right here.
Jack shot a great low single, but French able to mule kick that leg free, and then just as he did, Jensen right back in underneath there on the leg, picked it up, and again, a good physical, solid takedown, and he's got a 8-1 lead as they're off the edge of the mat. His riding time at 1 minute.
Hasn't taken a ton of shots, but I think he's, 2 for 2?
Yeah.
2 for 2 or 3 for 3? I guess he's 3 for 3 on shots. Pretty good percentage right there. Jack not one of the biggest 84-pounders out there, and he has to rely on some of that quickness, and he's really starting to develop a low-level attack, which against some of these bigger, stronger guys, that works.
I tell him the riding time clock ran about 6 extra seconds there as Jack cut the man loose. Sure, the coaches will if it comes into play. He was over a minute. It was going to be about 101 probably as he cut the man loose on the freestyle start. So an 8-2 lead for Jensen, 50 seconds to go.
This is where Coach is really looking for that one last takedown to secure a major decision.
Jack Jensen of Oklahoma State, Bryson French of Oregon. Tied up, collar ties, and leaning on each other now with 33 seconds to go. Jack's thinking bonus points. And now the official stops it and says Jack's got a cut on his eye, and he does. Right underneath his left eye. Sure what happened there, and fingernail or what, but again, when you're wrestling, all kinds of things, headbutts and things are just commonplace. Nature of the beast.
They got a cut under his eye there. Looks like.
Boxer.
Of course, you may have heard in the background there, Coach Smith, it's getting on him. It's 8-2. You've got riding time here. It's a solid, tough win, but Coach wants a major decision. That major decision makes a big difference to Coach John Smith.
There's a shot by French. Jack trying to get the leg of French. In on the leg. Jack with that hip lock in there. Able to get his leg under there and get him off of that. Now Jack pulls him forward, trying to slip around behind him. Now up on the head, trying to snake him up and whip him over. 8 seconds to go. Jensen still has him snaked up. 5 seconds remaining, but he's not going to be able to do anything with that. And the time will run out. 1:06 the riding time. Jack Jensen going to win by the score of 9-2. And the Cowboys lead the duel 9-0. Back in 1 minute, you're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Teamwork and dedication has always been a trademark of Oklahoma State Wrestling, as well as the law firms of Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball. And with a huge staff of attorneys and legal assistants specializing in personal injuries, workman compensations, and Social Security claims, Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball has shared this commitment to you since 1967. It's Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball, attorneys at law, Ponca City and Tulsa.
Serving a new generation with a tradition of innovation.
Stillwater National Bank and Oklahoma State have grown up together. In 1894, when Oklahoma State was moving its first students into Old Central, SNB opened its doors for business. Over 112 years later, SNB continues to support our community, OSU, and the spirit of doing business with confidence. Go Cowboys! Stillwater National Bank, when quality matters. Member FDIC.
SNB.
We move on to 197 pounds. Jared Shelton for Oklahoma State, 13-8 on the year against Chris Robertson, 4-15 for the University of Oregon Ducks. Cowboys lead the duel 9-0. We had a forfeit in bout number 1 for the Cowboys. Brandon Mason and Jack Jensen with a solid 9-2 win over Bryson French. Here's a double leg takedown for Jared Shelton and a 2-0 lead.
I learned that by watching or wrestling with Jake Rochelle. Maybe just didn't really have the double leg, had the one leg and just kind of drove through him, but it ends up as a double leg. Just good physical position by Jared Shelton. And like I said, this is the guy. Look at the overall record and then in the schedule. Jared Shelton, I mean, they're looking for bonus points here.
They go off the edge of the mat with 2:06 to go first period. Shelton with a 2-0 lead. Well, they broke out the Sheltonator on Friday night, and his opponent turned the wrong way on the way down and dislocated his shoulder a bit, and that was a big 6 points for the Cowboys.
Yeah, unfortunate. I mean, you got to figure he's going to go to his back and if not get pinned, give up 4, maybe 5, and he has to make a comeback. Of course, he majored Jared up in Cedar Falls, so that would have been a tough match. It's unfortunate the duel had to kind of come down to that because it very well could have come down to heavyweight, but that's wrestling. I mean, sometimes, you know, a lot of officials stop it too quick. I mean, either sometimes, like right here, you know, the arm behind the back when he's trying to work for that. I mean, right, you got to go to your back or you're going to hurt yourself, and you know that's wrestling. You just don't give him your arm or don't get in this particular situation. And unfortunately, Erickson decided not to go to his back, and he may be done for the year.
Well, Shelton get that right arm finally out from underneath there and hammer locks it across the back of Chris Robertson, and now he's trying to wrap him around the head and flip him on his back. 1:14 to go in the first period. Shelton a 2-0 lead, and he acts like he wants to try to end this one early. Again, he's got that right arm all the way across the back. Now jumps around to the opposite side. Still with that hand around the back, with that arm around the back. And now he jumps up on top of Robertson. Trying that cheap tilt maneuvers. He hooks him up underneath the chin. 47 seconds to go. Now he gives up the arm. Not able to do anything with it. Robertson gets to his base, and Shelton knocks that right arm out from underneath him, right back in the bar arm, and now he's going to try to roll him over. Gets in underneath those hips and rolls him over. Got a 2 count out of it. Didn't, again, just barely held him there long enough, but it's 4-0. Shelton right back, has that arm across the back, and now there will be a point for Chris Robertson, illegal hold for Jack Shelton.
Hammerlock position.
Jared Shelton.
That hammerlock position, you can't take it past 90 degrees, and like I said, Jared pretty physical with it, and just enough. And Kenny Ritchie, a very active official, he's in there all the time. And like I said, same thing with the near fall count. He's quick to the call. He's very attentive, and he's still in good shape, too. I mean, he gets around the mat and gets in good position and does a ton of high school stuff, and he's a good young official.
Getting to his feet is Robertson. Shelton underneath trying to pick him up by both legs and runs him off the edge of the mat, and does with 7 seconds to go in the first period.
Some of the cheerleaders scatter there. That was a scary moment.
Right out off the near side edge of the mat. And on the whistle, Shelton grabs an ankle. Trying to ride out the rest of this period, hanging on to that ankle, and does. So a big bump on the riding time clock and a 4-1 lead. The riding time for Jared Shelton after one period, 2:31.
Sounds like a Coleman Scott first period. Get your takedown, get you a set of near fall points, and ride for about 2.5 minutes, and start down in the second period, get your escape, and start thinking bonus points.
Jared Shelton in the down position, gets to his feet. Robertson has the hands locked around the waist. Shelton gets him off of the waist, but he drops down on the leg now as Jared gets his hips down. And may wind up with a reversal out of this as he's got his man flattened out, grabs his head, and slips around behind him. Shelton with the reversal.
I don't know, Rex. I mean, you've seen this kid since day one, and he just, like I said, he's not one of the top 4, 5, 6 guys, but you can tell he's just getting better. He's just getting better with his fundamentals. I mean, he was kind of wild. First match, remember, he was all over the place and kind of made a goofy error. And so that early in the year, he was still raw. But you can tell just by working out with Mark Branch and Rochelle and those guys in the room that he just is fundamentally, he's just getting better. And John Smith, I think he likes his kid. We're talking about his upside.
Got that arm barred up. In fact, pulled it all the way through the crotch, had that wrist barred through there, but gives that up. Robertson gets to his base. Sheldon, that crab ride, trying to turn him over, and now turns him over on his back momentarily. So, heck of a scramble there. Just when it looks like Shelton might be in trouble, he throws somebody on their back. That's kind of, again, he's got those wild scramble maneuvers that seem to work out in his favor a lot of times. It's now 6-2 as Shelton gives up the escape.
Like I was saying, how fundamentally sound he's starting to get much better, but that time he kind of rolled to his back and kind of went back to his old tendencies there, but had enough horsepower to nearly put his opponent on his back, but that's a situation you want to avoid.
Well, a double leg takedown there. Shelton looking as good as we've seen him all year, just hitting his shots, hitting them smoothly, and boy, wrestling with a tremendous amount of confidence here. And again, this guy's only 4-15 on the year. But Shelton's been good and solid throughout. And he doesn't mind those high risk for maneuvers from time to time. Running out of time here in the second period, speaking of which, is he's got those legs laced up, scissored, and trying to turn the man over, but will run out of time. So Shelton with an 8-2 lead and 3.5 minutes of riding time as we go to the final period.
Now, he had a very difficult weekend up in Cedar Falls. Had to wrestle Kurt Backus from Iowa State, who very well could win the whole thing at the end of the year. Had to wrestle Max Askren of Missouri before that, and then got a major decision by Erickson of Iowa on that second duel on Saturday, but beat Anderson from Northern Iowa, which was a good win for him. Of course, he was 3-0 at the Lone Star duels, and he's one of those guys that if you look at the weight class at the Big 12 tournament, is probably going to have to possibly upset somebody or beat a couple of guys down the stretch here to maybe get in that wild card consideration, because he's one of those guys just with the depth of the weight class at the Big 12 tournament. He's going to have to do something to get there.
In the down position is Robertson, not long. Shelton didn't try to ride him, just cut him loose. So it's 8-3 with riding time, and he's not going to lose that regardless of what happens.
I mean, you look at his weight class at the Big 12 tournament, you got Max Askren, you got Kurt Backus, and then you got Joe Flaggart. That's three pretty good guys.
Sheldon on the single, knelt to the double leg, now comes up and has the bear hug. They are side by side, and Sheldon just bear hugs him, just powers him to the mat. He slips in underneath that shoulder to get his 2 points. 10-3, now 10-4, as Shelton cuts Robertson loose back to the center of the mat, third period. 1:15, the clock running. And again, here we go. They are side by side, and again, with that deep hip lock stuck in there, Shelton trying to hit one of his patented moves there to throw this man on his back. This is the move that he hurt the Missouri wrestler with the other night. He's all the way in underneath his opponent, flips him over on his back, and then winds up underneath.
John Smith just rolled his eyes.
Well, I think John saw him, again, going for the fall there, so it was a mistake by effort as he was going for the downs, and it did wind up costing him 2 points, so it's 10-6.
And Robertson was on his back momentarily, but he kind of used Jared's momentum to kind of roll through. Maybe he's done some scouting on the old Sheltonator there, because They went right across his back, but carried his momentum through, and now he's going to work on top.
Got the left leg figure forward, and again, working up on top there, trying to figure out a way to get Jared Sheldon turned over on his back. 15 seconds to go. Sheldon's got his knees in underneath him. Both legs run in there now by Robertson, trying to flatten him out. 5 seconds. And that'll do it. 2:51 the riding time, 11-6. The decision, Jared Sheldon of Oklahoma State. Cowboys lead the duel 12-0. Back in 1 minute. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Serving a new generation with a tradition of innovation.
Stillwater National Bank and Oklahoma State have grown up together. In 1894, when Oklahoma State was moving its first students into Old Central, SNB opened its doors for business. Over 112 years later, SNB continues to support our community, OSU, and the spirit of doing business with confidence. Go Cowboys! Stillwater National Bank, when quality matters. Member FDIC.
SNB.
Hey, sports fans, this is Rex Holt, Stillwater Radio Sports Director, and I would like to invite you to check out The Game. The Game I'm talking about is our daily sports call-in show on AM 780 KSPI. Each day, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon, we talk sports with fans and special guests. Of course, we talk a lot about the OSU Cowboys and Cowgirls, as well as Stillwater and area high school sports, but we'll discuss about everything and anything and have. So listen in, call in, and let's try to have a good time on The Game. 10 a.m. to noon weekdays on Sports Talk 780 KSPI.
We're at heavyweight. Fourth bout of the night. Jared Sheldon out for Oklahoma State. 16-8, the 11th ranked Cowboy heavyweight, going on the redshirt freshman out of Ponca City. Beating Chris Dearman of Oregon, 13-8. He's a senior out of Central Point, Oregon. Cowboys lead the duel 12-zip.
One of the few upperclassmen for Chuck Carney. Probably has, 10, 15 pounds, maybe a little bit more on Rochelle, a little thicker in the middle section. Not chubby, just a pretty good-sized kid.
Jared reached down, trying to scoop up an ankle there. Didn't quite work out. Now the 2-on-1 arm tie. Trying to pull him forward. Now goes in underneath as they go off the edge of the mat.
Of course, I probably shouldn't say kid when you're 265 to 270 pounds, senior.
Well, he's probably a full-grown man at this point. 142 remaining in the first period. Two heavyweights leaning on each other. Again, we started at 174 this afternoon.
Looking at his results, he's had a lot of close matches.
Rochelle shoots it underneath on a double leg. Jared's got both legs tied up, but can't get them picked up as they go off the edge of the mat, and there's a stalling warning on Dearman as they go off the edge.
And Jared's just been kind of hot and cold all year. He's had some big wins, and then he's had some tough losses. But like I said, he's a guy that kind of depends on that draw at the national tournament. He will be there.
A lot of the mistakes and have been late in matches. That, again, he does the work to get in position to win, but whether it was getting bad clock management or not knowing the situation in a couple of instances or what have you, he's made some mistakes that have cost him probably 3 or 4 matches, in matches that he really out-wrestled his opponent. But late mistake, and again, that's the learning curve of a redshirt freshman that you got to deal with sometimes. But
and on Friday, though, he comes back with a huge third-period takedown to tie that thing up. Well, actually, to take a lead, but then gives up the escape to Fields and then loses in overtime. But like I said, he's probably going to be the top seed in the Big 12 tournament going into the conference meet in Columbia. But like I said, he's a guy that just get into the tournament and throw him in that draw and kind of see what happens. I mean, he has shown that he can get beat by just about anybody, or he can go out there and beat. I mean, even Conrad, was a tight match a long time ago. So he's just one of those guys. It's one of those wait and see. He's got that Rochelle bloodline, so get him in that national tournament, no telling what'll happen.
First period is over. 3 minutes of, again, Rochelle had about 3 attempts anyway. one really good double leg that he just couldn't quite finish off. The only thing we accomplished was a stalling warning against Chris Dearman in the first 3 minutes. So we go to period number 2. Rochelle down, and he's out.
They had 12 seconds on the riding time clock. Where did that come from?
And Rochelle with a good single leg shot. Now double and a takedown. Nice explosive single into a double leg and a takedown for Jared Rochelle. And goes to work on top. Ties up that right leg, and Dearman is flat on the mat.
That's something we just haven't seen a ton of. I mean, he's a great athlete, and then that time he just...
Well, he's jumping up trying to turn the man over on his back. Wow. Either rip his arm off or pin him, possibly. And, boy, he just grabbed that arm, jerked it out from underneath, and just started shoving it toward the back. Dearman just rolled all the way through, back to his chest. But Rochelle's acting like he's a man possessed here as he scored the takedown. He's been aggressive. Now he's got the hammer lock, got that arm pulled up across the back, posting the head with his right knee, and trying to figure out a way to get this man turned over. And again, he's right up on the head of Dearman, who's got his right arm pulled behind his back, that hammer lock scenario. And Jared, again, keeping a hold of that arm as Dearman trying to get to his feet, and now the referee will stop it. Potentially dangerous situation.
I went just a little bit past 90 degrees, but this is an aggressive Jared Rochelle. We haven't seen a ton of. He's kind of been cagey, and then he's wrestled good, tough matches, but the last minute he's really, scored his first period, got the escape to start the second, and he just went after him like it was the last 5 seconds of the match. Now he's really working hard from the top position, which is something that Jared's going to have to do. He's a smaller heavyweight, and he's just got to really wrestle hard for 7 minutes to...
And this is a situation when against those bigger guys, if you can wear them out when you ride them and wear them down. He's got over a minute now, heading toward a minute and a half on the riding time clock. Rochelle again pulls that left arm out from underneath, pushes it across the back. Dearman trying to get to his base. Kenny Ritchie immediately blows the whistle and says potentially dangerous. And Ricky Stewart saying, hey, he's trying to break our arm.
He's doing that on purpose, and John Smith looks across and kind of yells, yeah, he's trying to pin him. That was, with a small crowd, the arena is empty. You can hear about everything they say.
There's the Granby roll and the escape. That's a move that we've seen haunt Jared Rochelle from time to time this year, and there's the late escape by Dearman, and John not happy with that. 3-1, the lead.
John kind of gives him that stink eye look, and Jared actually just kind of smiled at him, just, sorry, coach.
And again, Jared get hit with that. That was what the Navy heavyweight did to him twice, and once worked into a reversal and a fall.
In overtime.
And there's Rochelle getting switched as we're underway here in the second or third period. Rochelle in the top position, and Dearman hit a classic switch, reverses him, and it's 3-3.
Yeah, Dearman showed a little explosive power right there. That was a good switch, but Jared, he's in a battle here. This kid, like I said, has stayed right in here. When you wrestle close matches like this, like I said, you just got to be smart.
Rochelle is up and out with the escape. His riding time holding at 1:22, and his lead now just a 1 point on the board at 4-3. So we are in for a good finish, it looks like, here between the heavyweights. Cowboy fans starting to make a little noise in the background. Rochelle and Dearman. Again, Jared was looked like he was in complete control. He was aggressive. He was going for it, and all of a sudden gave up the Granby, gave up the escape. Starting the third period, he gives up a reversal, and all of a sudden you got a 4-3 match. Again, the riding time at 1:22, favoring Rochelle.
And Dearman's just kind of hung around. Like I said, Jared's been in control, but unable to put any points on the board. What happens, you get to a third period, and the guy gets a little confidence. He got that late escape in the second, and you can tell Dearman a little bit more hop in his step.
40 seconds remaining. The official going to blow the whistle. Stop the two wrestlers. Jared's got a headgear problem. Now we're back at it.
30 seconds to go.
Rochelle takes a peek at the clock. There's a shot by Dearman. Low double attempt. Now goes up top, trying to trip him to the mat off the edge. Jared's got to be careful for a stalling warning here, but his riding time secure. So Rochelle, 15 seconds to go. You need to stay in there, stay aggressive, but don't give anything up. Dearman reaching in underneath there. Rochelle, 5-team off, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 1:22 the riding time, 5-3. Jared Rochelle, the winner. Cowboys increase their dual lead to 15-0. We'll be back at Governor Robin in 1 minute. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Did you know that Chevrolet, the best-rated cars and trucks, now come with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty? Hi, Teresa with Wilson Chevrolet, announcing Chevy's new 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, complete with zero deductible, roadside assistance, and courtesy transportation on all new Chevy cars and trucks. The best cars and trucks now have the best warranty to boot. Come experience business the Wilson way. You'll be glad you did.
Wilson Chevrolet Jeep Stillwater.
Frozen Peas has been a respected member of the community for decades. She's committed to support the growth of our children, and she's effective at lowering bad cholesterol by as much as 36%. Frozen Peas is all of these things and so much more. So this midterm election, vote for the best candidate for the job. Vote Frozen Peas for Senate. This message paid for by friends at Frozen Peas.
If you're not voting, then who are you electing? To learn more, visit payattention.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
We're back. And we're back to the smallest of the wrestlers, the 125-pounders. Tyler Shin, Oklahoma State. It is Ryan Dunn for Oregon. Shin tried to hit a little high crotch or maybe a fireman's carry there, but got pretty good penetration, but didn't have it set up and backs out of it as we're underway here at 125. Cowboys lead the duel 15-0. Ducks in their dark green singlets, trimmed in yellow. Cowboys in their customary orange singlets this afternoon, trimmed in black and white.
Dunn and Bo Malia, looks like they're kind of fighting for this job. Dunn, both of them are sophomores. Dunn won on Saturday, a couple matches. But he is
15-8 on the year.
15-8, like I said, he's just a sophomore, but Hazelwinkle did not wrestle last night. Pretty even so far, first minute.
Shin, redshirt freshman out of Newkirk, got into the top 20 of this performance in the national duels, 14-9 on the year. But again, this kid he's wrestling is 15-8. There's a shot by Shin, blocked off. Now he goes upper body. Double underhooks. There's a stalling warning on Ryan Dunn, and Shin still trying to go upper body with him. Dunn shoots it underneath. They're off the edge of the mat.
Now Ricky Stewart wondering what that was. It was pretty quick. It was pretty even, and then Tyler went to that double underhook and was just kind of forcing him off towards the edge of the mat. Getting Richie pretty quick with that stalling call. Ricky Stewart up and kind of scratching his head.
2 125-pounders. A little hand fighting going on, but again, Shin, some of the national duels, wrestled very well. It came back on Friday night. He wrestled horribly, just didn't win against Iowa. A guy he had beaten earlier. As he shoots it on the single leg, hitting on his backside is Dunn. Trying to step over the top there. Shin still underneath there, hanging onto the leg. Comes out the back door, still has that right ankle tied up. Trying to get the outside leg secure at 40 seconds to go in the first period. Shin has both legs, but has not gotten the man down to the mat. Still trying to get that outside ankle. And again, he's around the waist. He's got the leg, and he's got the takedown. Finally gave up on the leg, wrapped him around the waist, and got him down to one knee and got his 2 points.
That's pretty good defense by Dunn. Fighting that off for a long time.
They're off the edge of the mat onto the basketball floor there. 18 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think wind blood on somebody's shoulder or something. That shows how good a weekend Tyler had up at Cedar Falls when he won 4 matches, beat Falk, from Iowa beat Olenowski from Missouri, but Falk showed Friday night that he's tough. I mean, he's also among the top 20. He came out, and after that opening 3-minute scramble we saw in the first period, Falk really took control of that match, and I think that just shows how good a weekend Tyler had up there, because tough third-period win, won a match in overtime, and like I said, Falk came back very strong on Friday night, but Tyler just continues to get better. I mean, that's had the injury that kept him out for a little bit. Of course, that was over the holiday break, but like I said, he's going to be a factor in this lineup for a couple of years. Of course, Ben Ashmore in the room as well, Bishop Lynch kid, but they're going to be battling for this job next year most likely.
Little blood timeout on the whistle. Shin runs the legs in. The leg in, I should say, and they try to work off the crossbody ride. Trying to reverse him, though. It's done. Shin, though, is hanging on to that ankle, and he'll hang on to it till the time runs out. In the first period, Tyler Shin, a 2-0 lead. Cowboys again on top, 15-0. We open the duel with a forfeited 174. We got another blood timeout going on here. And apparently, Tyler Shin made some sort of a cut. It looks like right at the hairline, maybe, that he's got a cut there. So Matt Harrell working on Tyler Shin and trying to get that thing closed up. Oh. Yes, you can see him grimacing out there like mom putting iodine on your owie. Like, ouch. Well, that hurts. He grimaced there, but they're trying to get that bleeding stopped and send Shin back out there. Now there's substance now that's, again, kind of like glue that they can just put on there, and it'll seal that thing up. Freezes in a hurry.
Of course, Tyler from Newkirk, Ponca City. He's used to pain, probably.
They're still working on him. Matt Harrell gets that cleaned up, and we'll get back at it here. Second period. Tyler Shin in the down position. Ryan Dunn doesn't try to rod him. He didn't let him come right to his feet, held his wrist for a moment, and cut him loose. So Shin with a 3-0 lead. He's been the aggressor. He had done right in the center of the mat. 1:35 to go, period number 2. Fans kind of quiet at the moment. They've both been a little bit cautious at the moment.
Neither guy really wants to tie up. It looks like they want to work from long range. Tyler's trying to get in there and dig in with those underhooks. Finally gets in there and gets something, but so you can tell Dunn doesn't want to get in there and get wrapped up too much. He wants to work long range.
Shin still with that wrap on that right hand that he injured in Reno. There's a shot. Underneath on the single is Dunn. Shin able to get his hips down, gets him off of the leg. Now the front headlock by Shin, trying to keep the man on the mat and slip around behind him, trying to reach back and grab an ankle. Almost got around there, still with that front head and arm locked up. As they hit the mat, Shin grabs him around the waist, kicks around behind him, gets him on the mat, scores the takedown.
Well, that's just solid technique right there.
Eric Guerrero was particularly proud of that maneuver there. Shin's got another takedown, a 5-0 lead. Got the legs run in, but done a little set-out move. Now trying to reach up, grab the head of Shin and pull him off the top. Shin, though, able to keep him locked up around the chest. Get back on top and ride out the rest of this period, and he will.
Now, Guerrero wasn't bad with that. Man gets to your leg, you sprawl, you get him off your leg, boom, you grab that front headlock, and you dump yourself to your butt, put your head in their armpit, and just slowly work your way around the side. It's just basic counter technique, and Guerrero was pretty good at it, and Shin showed he's been paying attention to his coach.
Third period. Final 2 minutes in the down position. Ryan Dunn of Oregon comes to his feet. Shin reaches through the crotch, trying to pick him up. Now as they hit the edge of the mat, Dunn gets his hips down and trying to reach back, grab an ankle, does, and he's trying to get around behind Shin now and does for the reversal. Off the edge of the mat. Shin.
Blood time again.
Got a little more blood on his head, on his arm.
I'm going to say this match is far from over. Dunn, obviously a kid that you're going to see at the national tournament. Probably going to finish among the top 4 in the Pac-10. Like I said, you can tell he's got some skills, and it's a matter of Tyler just out-wrestling him so far, but good move there by Dunn to get the reverse and tighten this match up.
But again, I think of all the Cowboy wrestlers, we talked about Jarrett Shelton. We kind of like the way he's going. Jack Jensen, you hope those guys are going to break through. But I think this has been the first guy, Roger, that's really, you kind of feel like he's broken through. Now he needs to get better. But you kind of feel like he has made the move up the ladder there to that next level. He still has a ways to go. But the way we've seen him wrestle the last couple of weekends, you just feel good about the progression that he's making and his ability maybe to make some noise when in March when it counts the most. He's helping out with the escape right there to make it 6-2 after the blood timeout. And we're off the edge of the mat. And Shin and Dunn, a little extracurricular as Tyler got called for a stalling warning there. There's Dunn shooting in on the single. Crocodile roll back in underneath Shin, trying to get the leg tied up, but Dunn will wind up with a takedown. And now he'll cut him loose. So 7-4. Dunn right back in on the single leg. Shin with a hip lock stuck in. Playing a lot of defense here. He reaches down, grabs the ankle. And they go off the edge of the mat. Shin rolling over, grabbing his right leg now with 1:05 to go.
Dunn's got a little bit of confidence. He's gotten that leg pretty easy the last couple of times.
And again, they're working on the right thigh of Tyler Shin. The right knee, but it looks like they're working right above that right knee. And again, he's had the blood, the cut on his forehead. With 1:05 to go, third period. Shin still has riding time, by the way, of 1:01. He's still got a lead of 7-4. They're just trying to hold off this furious rally going on right now by Ryan Dunn of Oregon.
Hey, look at Dunn's results this year. Kind of a mix. Hadn't wrestled a lot of the top guys, but won 4 of his last 5. 6 of his last 8. He hadn't wrestled a ton of the big guys. Tanner Gardner from Stanford, of course, one of the better guys.
Shin says he's ready to go after the injury time, and we'll get back at it.
1 minute to go in the match.
They tie up in the upper body. And Dunn comes charging in. Again, he's full of confidence here of late. That is way with Shin. With a couple of takedowns. Almost had another one there a moment ago before the injury timeout. Dunn makes another shot. Shin has been called for stalling. So he's got to continue to be aggressive. The next one will cost him a point. There's a shot. Now Shin in on the single leg. Gets the ankle tied up. They're at the edge of the mat. 34 seconds to go. Dunn turns, kicks that leg free, and they'll go outside the boundary line.
And a little extra.
30 seconds remaining.
A little hockey face rub right there as they went back to the center, but Shin's got to be careful. He's going to get hit again for stalling.
Dunn takes a long-range shot there. 25 seconds to go. Shin hits a high crotch, and they're off the edge of the mat. Shin with a 7-4 lead and riding time of 1:01. John Smith is up, and the head coach is saying, get back in there and finish this off. Shin takes a long-range shot, getting the hips down is Dunn. Slips around behind Tyler Shin. Shin trying to fight him off. Dunn's trying to take him back down for another 2 points. Shin turns, trying to kick the leg free. Can't do it. Takedown. Dunn to the edge of the mat. Kept his toes in. John Smith is not quite sure, but Shin still has a 1-point lead. Dunn's talking to him as they head back to the center of the mat.
And Dunn's kicking himself for not starting earlier. Didn't do a whole lot the first period and a half. Third period, all of a sudden, kind of turned it on, and he's been much better the last about 3 minutes of this match.
Well, he'll push Shin away, give him the escape. So it's 8-6. Shin goes upper body now. The time will run out. Riding time is gone, so Shin survives Ryan Dunn's big rally, and he'll win it 8-6. Cowboys go up in the duel now. 18-0, Oklahoma State. We'll move on after this timeout. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
There are obvious reasons for the success of Oklahoma State wrestling. Tradition, talented athletes, premier coaches, and loyal fans. But another huge reason has been the White Jacket Club. Some 500 strong, the White Jacket Club has been the backbone of the Cowboy program with its generous moral and financial support. Travel, training, equipment, it has all been enhanced because of the White Jacket Club. And if you would like to be a member, just call 405-744-4541. That's 744-4541. Be a part of something special. Cowboy Wrestling and the White Jacket Club.
If you're 60 or older, regular exercise can keep you going strong. If you're just getting started, the National Institute on Aging has a free exercise guide that can help. It shows you how to exercise safely, build strong muscles, and improve your balance. For a free copy of the exercise guide, call 1-800-222-2225. That's 1-800-222-2225. Exercise. It's energy for life. A public service announcement of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and this station.
Rexo, Roger Moore back with you from Gallagher Iba Arena. The fans making a lot of noise as we get ready to move to 133. And got a little fan competition going on at the moment. Stick with us as we wrap this one up this afternoon. We'll have our C-Star Management Star of the Day. And remember, Howard Offlager and the president of C-Star Management, former OSU wrestler, invites you by his offices here in Stillwater, 304 South Duck, to check out what they can do for you at C-Star. Whether you need to buy, sell, or you need someone to manage your property, C-Star Management can take care of all of those needs. So remember, C-Star Management in Stillwater, 377-8740, 377-8740. And in the Oklahoma City area, 405-949-1404. That's 949-1404. Why pay more? The best still remains. C-Star Management, sponsor of our Star of the Day. We're underway at 133. Fifth-ranked Cowboy Coleman Scott, 18-3 on the year and on a single leg against Joey Lucas, a senior out of Hillsboro, Oregon. Coleman again 18-3. Lucas 9-10 on the year as we are just past the halfway point of this duel. Cowboys leading it 18-0. Coleman has that right leg picked up. Lucas bouncing on his left leg and trying to get Coleman give up that right one, but Coleman still has it up in the air. Hip lock stuck in by Lucas. Coleman trying to get a better lock on that leg and picks it up a little higher. Lucas still with that hip lock in there. Coleman trying to kick the other leg out from under him. Not able to do so yet. Now steps inside, tripped him to the mat. Tried to kick it one way. Now they just kick it out, tripped it out from under him, and drive him to the mat for the takedown. Coleman's got a 2-0 lead.
Coleman had a great first period against Gallinakis from Iowa on Friday. A couple of big-time double-leg takedowns, and then kind of put it on Cruz. Some of that was due to Gallinakis. Very tough individual, ranked among the top 15. Lucas, this is a kid, senior, that you might see in the first round of the tournament or the second round or somewhere down the road. He's an experienced kid, been at 125, 133, but a match that obviously Coleman Scott heavily favored in.
Coleman in underneath the shoulders now with that figure four around the waist and trying to get Lucas turned over. That cheap tilt-type maneuver off the ride to get him pick up some back points. We're inside of a minute to go, first period. And Coleman's working on a minute of riding time after the initial takedown here at 133 pounds. Stalemate called by the official. H2O Sports Unlimited is your place for wakeboarding and water skiing gear. H2O Sports Unlimited at Stillwater, 8002 West 6th, 8002 West 6th. Call them at 405-533-BOAT, 533-BOAT, or check them out on the World Wide Web, H2OSportsUnlimited.com. One of the many fine sponsors of Oklahoma State Wrestling. 2006 and 2007, Coleman Scott. The first move runs that right leg inside, working off the cross body with 28 seconds to go, over a minute in riding time and counting. On his knees right now is Joey Lucas of Oregon. Coleman has that Right leg tied up, draped across his back. Eight seconds to go now. Lucas flat on the mat at the moment, and the time runs out at period number 1. 2-0, Coleman Scott, riding time of 1:44. Rex Holt, Roger Moore with you. And again, John Smith show, by the way, this week will be on Tuesday night. We got Big Monday Bedlam basketball. So the coaches' shows will move to Tuesday night, including John Smith from 6 to 7 on Hot 93.7 FM.
A big basketball game tomorrow night, probably. Cowboys in to rebound from A&M's tough. A&M's just a good, physical.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboys never really got going last night, but A&M's, that's a team that's going to fight for Sweet 16 type stuff. They got some athletes, and they play defense. And
Cowgirls played tough yesterday, but
they should have won that game. Well, I watched that whole game, too, and that was it was a heartbreaker. It was, 17 lead changes and a bunch of ties, and came down to the end, and Andrew Riley just kind of fell down, and that girl had an open shot, and but then again, when a program like Oklahoma State women's basketball has been losing by 20 and 30 and 40, I mean, that's got 2 Big 12 wins already, and then they come back with that. I mean, he's already on the top of the list for Coach of the Year, I think, isn't he?
No doubt. Kurt Budke done a great job and turned that thing around in a hurry, even though a tough loss yesterday. And there's the escape for Coleman Scott as he's up and out. Lucas tried to ride him for just a while, but never really got him broken down flat. Now Coleman can go back to work on his feet. His riding time still over a minute. His lead on the board is at 3-0. He'd open up. A little separation, as they say, between the two 133-pounders. They drift back toward the center of the mat.
Now we've seen Coleman just dominate just about all year long. So about the third period against Navy, he gave up a late takedown and ends up beating Joe Baker. Tough kid, like 9-3, and then not a good performance at the national duels. I'm not sure if Coleman's kind of bringing it back, thinking about what's ahead or whatever. But like I said, he's kind of gone back to that kind of slow workman-like style that he started his career with.
Two wrestlers not doing much at the moment. A lot of hand fighting going on as the second period continues. The clock continues to run. But since Coleman's escaped, not much has happened. And the time will, looks like, run out here in period number 2 without anything else going on. You hear the big, loud buzzer in the background. 3-0. Coleman Scott with the lead. His riding time holding at 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here in the third period, it will be Joey Lucas of Oregon in the down position. On the whistle, Coleman with the first move. Riding up with that spiral ride up underneath the right shoulder, and that left arm run back through the crotch. Now he runs the legs in. And now Porter Nelson around the back of the head, trying to turn the man over and get a back point, or a back count. He is getting a cheap tilt. It's at a count here from Kenny Ritchie. And it will be a 3-point near fall, so that worked nicely for Coleman. Didn't turn him a whole lot, but just enough to get the count. And a 3-point near fall to boot. 6-0. Coleman starting to get some separation now and working on 2 minutes on that riding time clock. Still got the legs run in as he has Lucas laced up, has him flat on the mat. And he's going to try to turn him over again. Looks up at Eric Guerrero, and I think Guerrero saying, hey, cut him and take him down again. And now as he does, they're going to call for a timeout. I think we lost a contact lens as Lucas is reaching down on the mat, trying to put it back in his eye. That's probably not the best thing to do.
You don't need any.
There might be some stuff on that mat that you might not want on your eyeball, you would think, possibly. Coleman's going to cut him loose, give him the escape.
Don't you need some kind of liquid to
barely
put it back in your eye, too?
Right back at it. It should be 7-1. Coleman's got over 2 minutes of riding time. 44 seconds to go.
Actually, should just be 6-1.
Oh, 6-1.
There we go. Boom, we got it.
Put the point on the wrong side. So 6-1. There's a takedown for Coleman Scott. Caught his man coming in and then just whipped underneath that shoulder and around behind him for a slick-looking takedown. Now it's 8-1. Coleman's got the riding time, and now he's going to get another near fall count out of this with the cheap tilt. So Coleman bringing it on home. Now he's got a half in on the right side. But he'll just settle for where he is right now. The riding time, 2:38. 3 more points for the near fall. So that'd make it about, 12-1, major decision. Is that what you got, Roger?
12-1, yep.
Major decision.
Late math there.
12-1, 4 points for the Cowboys, a 22-0 lead. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Do people in metropolitan areas deserve more advanced medical care than people in the heart of Oklahoma? We don't think so either. That's why Stillwater Medical Center owns the best CT and MRI technology in the world. High-resolution imaging systems provide the fastest, most accurate diagnosis available. You deserve world-class technology provided by doctors among the best in their field. You'll find it at Stillwater Medical Center. The technology to treat, the compassion to heal. For more information, call 405-742-5622.
Oklahoma State Wrestling and the law firms of Betcher Martin, Gina Jackson, and Betcher Lowball have a lot in common. Some hard work, dedication, and tradition, and that commitment to excellence has served the Cowboy Wrestling program for over 70 years. And it's done the same for Betcher Martin, Gina Jackson, and Betcher Lowball since 1967. This is just 2 teams striving to be the best. That's the Cowboys and Betcher Martin, Gina Jackson, and Betcher Lowball. They're attorneys at law in Ponca City and Tulsa.
And we're back with you at Gallagher Iba Arena. Rex Hood along with Roger Moore. We moved to 141. And Ethan Kyle, we told you after the Cowboys ran out, had weighed in for the Cowboys. And it looks like Nathan Morgan may be getting the afternoon off. And Ethan Kyle getting the call against what is probably the best wrestler for Oregon, as Justin Perch does get the call. They had 2 guys weighed in here, but Perch gets the call. He is 17-7 on the year. And we are underway at 141.
And he's not, Perch, that is, not a big 41-pounder. He started the year at 133. Of course, Coleman beat him in Reno, just 4-1. But he's bumping up to 141, so Kyle not out-muscled here. Of course, Ethan's Johnny on the spot. Some injuries, and he's gotten the call. Of course, last year went to the Big 12 tournament, nearly qualified for the national tournament. So
Ethan is 11-5 this year, and again, of course, got some time while Nathan was on the mend with his knee injury after that Bedlam duel as they go off the edge of the mat. So 11-5 on the year. Again, Perch 17-7. Cowboys lead the duel 22-0. 4 bouts to go. We started 174 this afternoon. 2 wrestlers tied up in the upper body.
Perch lost to Darrell Vasquez from Cal Poly 6-2, so I'll give you a little bit of an indication of his talent level.
We know Vasquez will flat get her after it. Little head snap there. He got Kyle on the mat, but Ethan able to grab the elbows, stay square with his opponent. Perch not giving him any advantage to get around behind him, at least not at this point. Stalemate called by the official, Kenny Ritchie. And they're back at it. 1:20 to go, first period. No score. Kyle tried to hit a duck under. Couldn't get that to work. Now pulled down to the mat by Perch. That front headlock. Still trying to pull him forward. Reaches back, grabs the leg. Ethan trying to kick his hips over the top as they scramble to the mat. Ethan still trying to come out from underneath there, but he winds up exposing his back to Perch, who's able to grab his wrist and score the takedown, and it's 2-0.
Yeah, good little scramble there. You can tell Perch likes to work off that front headlock. Even when Kyle wasn't shooting and he was trying to pop the head, bring him to the mat, and then work his offense off of that. Good athletic scramble right there. Now he's going to work on top.
The chicken wing stuck in there on the left side. Now has that right arm pulled out from underneath there for Kyle as it pulled across his back as the legs run in. He'll try to hook him up underneath the chin and roll him over. Ethan, of course, trying to keep that from happening. Flat on his chest at the moment. Perch setting right up on him. That right arm pulled across the back. Now gives up the arm. Kyle trying to get to his feet and go off the edge of the mat. 2-0. Justin Perch with the lead. I think this is the only match they've had a lead at all, right?
I have to agree with you. They've had some strong third periods. And it started slow. That's the first point they've scored in the first. Well, now Jared Shelton got called for illegal hold or whatever it was. So they've scored 1 point in the first period until that takedown by Perch.
Time running out in the first period. Kyle would love to escape to get a point on the board. Not going to happen. Time runs out. So a 2-0 lead for Perch. He also built up 58 seconds of riding time.
On the other hand, they've scored 15 points in the third period, which that's not going to make the old coach of the Pokes happy.
Yeah, he's filing all that away for practices this week. On the whistle, Kyle in the down position, a little set out, but Perch is hung there for just a moment and cut him loose. Gave him the escape, and it's 2-1. Perch has riding time of 1:05, a 2-1 lead. We're in the second period. Two wrestlers on their feet in the center of the big orange mat here at Gallagher-Iba Arena in Stillwater. Rex Holt and Roger Moore with you, your Cowboy Wrestling reporters. About 4 bouts remaining. The whistle blows, and the official, Kenny Ritchie, will start these two over again.
Of course, you wonder what goes through the head of Perch. He wrestles a match last night and wins. He's coming to Stillwater. I'll get a shot at Nathan Morgan, the top guys in the country, and then you get up here and you weigh in. Both guys weigh in. You jump out there and, hey, that's not Nathan Morgan. I don't know if his confidence jumps up or all of a sudden he kind of has a downer thinking, I want to go against the best maybe. But like I said, it's just tough to think what's going through his head when you're getting motivated, you're getting fired up. I got to wrestle this, All-American, and probably didn't sleep that well last night thinking about that. But
Perch working on that front headlock, almost got around behind Kyle again, but Ethan able to get out in front, stay even with the guy, didn't allow him to, again, get around behind him and grab an ankle or what have you. So both men on their feet. Second period, 35 seconds remaining. Perch of Oregon with a lead 2-1, riding time holding at 1:05. But again, a takedown by Ethan Kyle out of St. Charles, Missouri, the Cowboys senior, and this one would completely change because you feel like right now, of course, that Perch is, there's Kyle in on the single leg. Gets in on that right leg. Perch hits the mat, now turns back into Ethan Kyle. Ethan's got that right leg tied up, but no leverage at the moment. As Perch able to get his hips down, trying to fight him off. Reaching back over the top, wraps him around the waist. Kyle laying in underneath his opponent, hanging on that right leg, but time will run out before he can do anything with it. And that'll end the second period. 2-1, Perch leading.
Good, solid, low-level single-leg attack from Ethan, but once he got there, he kind of froze just momentarily and let Perch kind of gather himself and get his hips back and turn back into him and just, they say, work off the last 10 seconds of that period. So you get to that single leg, you got to keep moving and change levels and complete the takedown at this level.
Perch in the down position. We start the final 2 minutes. He gets to his feet. Ethan picked up one leg and hung on him momentarily, then just cut him loose.
Back to that same front headlock again.
And in on the single leg, picking up the left ankle is Perch. Ethan Kyle with a hip lock stuck in, trying to get off the edge of the mat, as kind of doing the splits out there. And right now, no takedown, but Perch has that left leg tied up. Ethan got a hip lock stuck in, and Perch reaches up, grabs his head, now trying to cradle him up. And Perch trying to get those hands locked on the cradle. He does have the hands locked. We can see from our vantage point. Ethan still with that hip lock stuck in, now gets his head free. Perch still hanging on that left leg, trying to grab that outside ankle. They're right at the edge of the mat. 1 minute to go, third period. Perch still has that left leg picked up. Ethan still fighting it at the edge of the mat. Stalemate called by the official. 54 seconds to go.
I think that's called flexibility and defense. And just good mat awareness, knew where he was on the edge of the mat, and but once again initiated by a perch. I don't know how he fought him off that whole time. He was cradled up there on the edge, but Nathan very flexible now. Perch looks like he's working on his ankle or knee or something.
Yeah, he has a wrap on that right knee. We can see it from here. Got a wrap on that knee, and apparently there's something wrong there was already, and maybe tweaked it or whatever, and he's being checked out by the Oregon trainer. Get the Cowboys back on the road for 3 more duels next weekend, Northern Iowa and Iowa State, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. And then a little midweek shot to Lincoln, Nebraska. Beat the Cornhuskers. And then back home, the next time the Cowboys back home, February the 3rd, Missouri comes to town. Of course, they beat the Cowboys in the national duels, and the regular season closes February the 11th with the Oklahoma Sooners here in Gallagher-Iba. So, got the injury time. We're back at it here in the third period. Perch leading 3-1. His riding time is holding at 57 seconds. He gets around behind Ethan Kyle. Wraps that left arm around his waist. As of right now, Kyle able to keep him from getting all the way around behind him as they hit the mat.
That's 2.
Ethan hits trying to roll out from underneath there, but his arm is barred, and there's the takedown. There is the takedown for Justin Perch, and it's 5-1.
Yeah, set up by that front headlock again. Kyle there wasn't really a shot, but Perch forced him to the mat. Boom. Secured the head and an arm, and then just took his time, came around the side, and scored the takedown. This Perch guy's obviously, along with maybe the 184-pounder and the 25-pounder, they're probably the 3 best guys on the team.
Well, Ethan will get the escape. Perch more or less cut him loose. He's back over a minute of riding time, a 5-2 lead. Ethan tries a big lateral drop, but doesn't have it hooked up. It hits the mat, and that will do it. Time runs out. 1:12 will be the riding time. And, that'll make it a 8. What do you have, Roger?
Late takedown, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8.
8-2.
8-2.
So, regular decision. Justin Perch of Oregon with a win, 8-2. First match the Cowboys have lost. They lead the duel 22-3. Back in 1 minute, you're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
At Charlie's Discount Drug, we care about your health, so we go that extra mile to make sure you have the medications you need. Charlie's also offers free delivery on prescriptions, and how frustrating it is to get out of the emergency room with the prescription in your hand only to find every pharmacy closed. Charlie's is the only pharmacy that will come to your rescue. Charlie's Discount Drug at 8th and Walnut is here when you need us. Charlie's Discount Drug, where we know our customers by name.
Where everybody knows your name.
Did you know that Chevrolet, the best-rated cars and trucks, now come with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty? Hi, Teresa with Wilson Chevrolet, announcing Chevy's new 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, complete with 0 deductible, roadside assistance, and courtesy transportation on all new Chevy cars and trucks. The best cars and trucks now have the best warranty to boot. Come experience business the Wilson way. You'll be glad you did.
Wilson Chevrolet Jeep Stillwater.
So Roger Moore back with you from Gallagher-Iba Arena. We move on to 149 pounds, and it's B.J. Jackson getting the call for the Cowboys. A record of 3-4 on the year, and it will be Zach Frazier going for Oregon. Frazier is 9-11 on the season, and the 2 149-pounders tied up in the upper body step off the edge of the mat. Cowboys lead the duel 22-3. Oregon won its first match there at 141. It was Ethan Kyle going for the Cowboys and losing 8-2 to Justin Perch. So again, we started at 174. 3 bouts remaining, including this one. BJ, less of a wrap on that knee today as he gets in on the single leg. Picks that right leg up.
No brace, just has a knee pad.
And he kicks the other leg out from under. Frazier scores the takedown.
B.J. Jackson, him and Dakota Simpson, they know every time they step on the mat, they're under a spotlight. They know that they've got to show the coach that, you know what, I want this job. And, of course, B.J. Jackson also, by taking off the full leg wrap, I think he's saying, you know what, I'm going to forget about this knee injury. Because when you got a big old leg brace on like that, I'm sure you can't help but think about it just a little bit. So,
well, B.J. looked right there. That's something we hadn't seen in a while. Aggressive, going out, good solid single leg into a takedown. And, I mean, we've seen him do that. But of late, coming out of that knee injury, he's just been a little bit unaggressive, I guess, is the way to put it.
Didn't have a takedown in Cedar Falls.
Right.
3 matches, went 0-3. Of course, lost some tight matches. It was a close match against Missouri when he got caught and pinned at the end. But
well, again, he showed no offense whatsoever or any aggressiveness. You wonder, well, is it the knee? Or again, a lot of guys didn't wrestle well on Sunday, so maybe it was just a team-wide thing that particular day. Nobody seemed to wrestle well. But out here with a good solid takedown, now working on that right arm, trying to pull it out from underneath. Zach Frazier. Frazier on his knees. BJ gets that right arm pulled out from underneath. 55 seconds to go in the first period. He's gone over a minute in riding time. And B.J. Jackson, again, right arm pulled out from underneath and across the back of Frazier, at least trying to get that accomplished. Still hanging on to that right wrist, though, as he has him flat on the mat and works on the riding time clock some more. 125 and counting. Now he figure fours that left leg, hooks up Frazier underneath the chin, trying to roll him over. 30 seconds to go. B.J. going after that cheap tilt. Some near fall points didn't get him turned enough.
Yeah, it's not like B.J.'s been wrestling some slugs. I mean, he's the kid from Navy. Cox was pretty talented. He didn't wrestle very well in that match. It was a major decision, but he comes back with Osgood from Northern Iowa. That was the match I think that John Smith didn't like. It was a 2-1 loss in a tiebreaker to an unranked guy from Northern Iowa, Osgood. Then he came back from Kyler Sanderson from Iowa State, and, of course, Wagner from Missouri. So since he's come back, he hasn't had the easiest schedule, but like that's a pretty good first 3 minutes for Jackson right there. I mean, he's just been more aggressive. That's the number one thing I think the coach wants to see is him to go out and at least, go down in flames. If you can get beat, at least go out there and make some attempts at something.
Well, he wrote out the rest of that first period. B.J. down, gets to his feet immediately, but Frazier dropping down on the legs, able to usher him off the far side edge of the mat. B.J. again with over 2 minutes of riding time as we started this period, right at 2 minutes. Wants to get up and out and can keep that riding time as safe as possible. And he's going to score a reversal. He was out. I'm not sure what happened there. Frazier, just as he was allowing B.J. to escape, looked like he just fell backwards.
He did. He just fell off, and B.J. kind of looked surprised there for a split second, and then just
the man
drops down on him. And
turn around, the guy's laying on the ground. You jump on him, and he did. He leads 4-0.
B.J. Jackson and Dakota Simpson are going to have plenty of battles in the wrestling room, along with having to split time in the dual meets. I'm sure both of them will go next weekend. And like I said, this is a day-by-day thing with Coach Smith.
B.J. trying to, again, work a cheap tilt off of this, maybe get some back points. Has that left leg tied up with a figure four. And get those hips rolled over, hook the man underneath the chin, and roll him over, expose those shoulders, and get a count out of it, but didn't get that accomplished. As they go off the edge of the mat, 52 seconds to go in period number 2.
Bottom line, whoever it is this weight class, it's going to be an upset at the Big 12 tournament or a wild card situation. You've got Kyler Sanderson from Iowa State. You've got Wagner from Missouri. And, of course, you've got Storniolo from OU. So whoever is at this weight class is going to have to upset somebody or win some matches down the stretch here to get in that wild card conversation, because Cowboys, this is the one weight class where they haven't had a full-time starter during the season. Of course, Ryan Freeman wrestled a lot in the early season, so this is a weight class where the Cowboys have some work to do if they're going to make it to Auburn Hills.
B.J. gave up the ankle there to Frazier, fought him off, had that knee, this good knee, kind of twisted around a little bit, but the official got him out of that predicament with a potentially dangerous. Now B.J. in on a single leg, has the right leg tied up. Hip lock slapped in by Frazier, trying to fight him off. BJ's got that right leg picked up in the air, now has both ankles and has his takedown. 9 seconds to go, second period. BJ had to move up off those ankles a little bit. and ride out the rest of the period, and he will. Holding a 2:50 riding time to go with a 6-1 lead. And again, B.J. Jackson, a good solid match so far this afternoon.
Now, don't get crazy here. This isn't Dustin Schlater or one of the guys we're going to see in Auburn Hills. It's just a freshman in a match that B.J. Jackson should be doing this. But like I said, I agree with you. He's at least being more active, and he's going after some stuff. Another takedown there.
Gave up the escape to open the period and didn't try to ride Frazier, but right back on the attack and more or less a bear hug. Got in underneath the armpits, got around behind his man and forced him to the mat. So an 8-2 lead for B.J. Jackson, and there's the escape now as he lets Frazier go again. Frazier, a little front headlock there, but B.J. hanging on to those elbows, gets a stalemate called. And he had an 8-3 lead over 3 minutes of riding time, so he cannot lose that. Only bonus points today for the Cowboys, other than the forfeit, of course, which was worth 6. That came at 133. Coleman Scott, a major decision. There's a shot in on the single leg, and grabbing that ankle as Frazier switches off to the double leg and the takedown. So Zach Frazier showing signs of life with a double leg takedown with 1 minute to go.
Yeah, that's an explosive attack. BJ doesn't seem to be in trouble, but like I said, there's not a ton of separation on the scoreboard. He's got a lot of riding time, but boom, one takedown, and Frazier right back in this thing.
Frazier runs that right leg in on B.J. Jackson to the edge of the mat, and now he's trying to figure out some way to work some back points out for the cross body. They'll go off the edge of the mat.
Once again, the coach just scratches his head. He's trying to make a decision, and B.J., Dakota didn't wrestle poorly on Friday, but showed that he's going to have to develop some other things besides the old high flyer. Lost the match there, and B.J. wrestling very well here until gives up that late takedown, but here he comes back. So
bad shot, actually, and a counter by B.J. Jackson for the 2 points as Frazier kind of overextended himself, but a good job by B.J. to keep him on the mat and able to post him, get around behind him, and score the 2, and now B.J. will cut him loose. 19 seconds to go. There's another bad shot. B.J. almost able to get around behind Frazier again as they go off the edge of the mat. 14 seconds remaining.
Now 11-6. It's important for B.J. here to get this last takedown. That major decision is puts a star by her name, according to the head coach.
B.J. on the single leg. Boy, could not finish it off. Had that right leg tied up. Didn't finish off, and now a shot in underneath. Frazier gets in on that right leg of B.J. Jackson. B.J. gets his hips down. The time runs out. 2:48 the riding time, and it will be a 12-6 decision for B.J. Jackson of Oklahoma State. Cowboys increase their lead to 25-3. We'll move to 1:57 in 1 minute. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Serving the new generation with a tradition of innovation.
Stillwater National Bank and Oklahoma State have grown up together. In 1894, when Oklahoma State was moving its first students into Old Central, SNB opened its doors for business. Over 112 years later, SNB continues to support our community, OSU, and the spirit of doing business with confidence. Go Cowboys! Stillwater National Bank, when quality matters. Member FDIC.
SNB.
There are obvious reasons for the success of Oklahoma State wrestling. Tradition, talented athletes, premier coaches, and loyal fans. But another huge reason has been the White Jacket Club. Some 500 strong, the White Jacket Club has been the backbone of the Cowboy program with its generous moral and financial support. Travel, training, equipment, it has all been enhanced because of the White Jacket Club. And if you would like to be a member, just call 405-744-4541. That's 744-4541. Be a part of something special. Cowboy Wrestling and the White Jacket Club.
We move to 157 pounds, final 2 bouts of the night, and Newly McSpadden out for Oklahoma State, the sophomore out of Bonita, meeting Kyle Bounds of Oregon. Bounds, a redshirt freshman out of Vancouver, Washington. McSpadden 14-11 on the year. Bounds with a even 13-13 mark. Cowboys lead this duel 25-3. This is one of 2 bouts remaining as we started at 174 tonight. Newly coming off a very inspiring performance against the Iowa Hawkeyes on Friday night.
Well, inspiring, just a good, tough. I mean, talk about a guy that's had a tough schedule and has had a lot of close matches and lost most of them. Finally found a way to beat Morningstar, a kid that he lost to last week. Third period ride out. Like I said, Newly, that you hope that's a springboard win. That's a win against a ranked guy that could give him some confidence, kind of get him going. But, it's important. You've got to take advantage of the old turnover in football. You got to get it on the 20. You got to take it in and run with it. And Newley's got to come back here and beat a guy that's got a 500 record, a kid that, like I said, when you're talking about wild card consideration, this is a guy that you go out and put the W up against.
Newley takes a long-range shot. Nothing there as they go off the edge of the mat. No score. We're halfway through period number 1. Again, 157. Not a whole lot of action at this point. There's a shot in underneath in on the single leg. It's bounds, but Newley gets him on the mat, gets the leg free, and scores the takedown off the counter.
And Newley's also in a weight class. You talk about, finishing top 3. You got Will Rowe of Oklahoma. You've got Paulson of Iowa State. You've got Chandler of Missouri. Even Oliver, who's had some injury issues with Nebraska, is a tough kid. So Newley's, like I said, nothing's a sure thing. And when we look at his record, 14-11. These are the guys that you got to build wins against.
Newley's got the legs run in on bounds. Has both legs run in momentarily. Now kind of a figure 4 around the waist as he's working up around the head of bounds underneath those shoulders, trying to hook something up, but still may call by our referee, Kenny Ritchie. Back to the center of the mat, first period. Newley McSpadden, a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, broke a 4-match losing streak on Friday night.
Newley with that spiral ride, gets that arm barred on the left side. Now gets bounced flat on the mat.
Like that, a 5-match loser. He lost to Navy. That's an overtime, a disappointing loss there. We're kind of scratching our heads. Lost in overtime to a kid that probably should have beat, and then lost 4 straight to, tough. I mean, Mosa Fay from Northern Iowa is tough. Paulson's tough. Chandler's tough. Morningstar's tough. Came back and beat Morningstar on Friday, so I said good for Newley. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Of course it's great to get a win. I mean, I talked to him Friday night, and you could tell he was just like, man,
right,
I won a match. I mean, it just feels good. I don't care how I did it.
Heard the buzzer in the background. Newley able to, again, with a leg ride, run in on bounds, able to ride him out. 2-0 the lead for Newley McSpadden. And his riding time holding at 1 minute and 18 seconds. Newley will be down as we start period number 2. Bounds grabs his right ankle just as the period gets underway, but Newley right back to his feet, breaks the lock of the hand, scores his escape, and makes it 3-0. His riding time still holding at 1:10. As we're underway in period number 2. 2-on-1 arm tie up there by Bounds, but and they're just leaning on each other ear to ear, and not a whole lot going on at the moment. They just drift back toward the center of the mat. There's a little spin move. That doesn't work. Well, maybe I've seen it work once in my lifetime.
Worked in high school a few times, the old 360 and
then shoot back in underneath, get your guy mesmerized by your pirouette.
Exactly.
You shoot in underneath for the double leg takedown. Off the edge of the mat, 1:05 to go, second period.
Not a big setup. I think it's more about deception. Have the guy going, what was that? Blew me right. You're on his leg.
Distract him enough that you're able to shoot a single or a double. There's a stalling warning on Bounds, just as Newley makes a long-range shot. Now trying to make sure he doesn't give anything up. Not a real good setup there by McSpadden, but again, Bounds has not been able to do anything off of that front headlock, but Newley gets again keeping a hold of those elbows, stays out in front of his man, and gets the stalemate called. Newley in good shape at the moment, 3-0 lead, 1:10 riding time. We're at 35 seconds to go in period number 2.
Bounds pretty well put together and just kind of staying in that square stance and just kind of tying Newley up. Probably going to get hit again here any moment.
Newley makes a shot. Not enough penetration to do anything with it. 15 seconds to go, period number 2. And again, they'll send him back to the center of the mat.
And one more aggressive move by Newley, and there here's your stalling on Bounds.
Shot by McSpadden, a double leg shot. There's a stalling call and a point for Newley as the time runs out in period number 2. So it's 4-0 for McSpadden in 1:10 riding time.
And no complaints from the coaching staff at Oregon. They're from here, and they can't argue with the calls from Kenny Ritchie there. Of course, it was very late in the period, but Bounds had spent about 2 minutes kind of doing really nothing.
Well, he's down in the final 2 minutes here, the final period. Kyle Bounds of Oregon in the down position. Newley's working on a little more riding time here to go with his 4-0 lead. Bounds gets to his feet. Newley steps inside and pulls him back down on the mat as he's riding up high, has those wrists tied up, and riding up right underneath those shoulders and working on those wrists, not allowing his man to get his hands underneath him. And now a stalemate called by the official. 1:27 to go. We are in the third period. Scoreboard says it's period number 2. There's both legs run in and flat on the mat, Bounds. And Newley, again, what a ride he had on Friday night. He showed that he can be extra tough in that top position. Again, against Kyle Bounds, Cowboy coaches are hoping not just as he goes over 2 minutes of riding time that he's going to be able to score some back points off of this ride. Inside of a minute to go.
Now Bounds is kind of laying on the mat, not really trying to work towards his base or really trying to do anything. He's, like I said, just content, I guess, to lose a close match here.
Mr. Jack Griffith used to say, and hunkered up like a toad in a hailstorm. Jack Griffith and all those great sayings. And he was the voice of Cowboy Wrestling for so many years. Had the pleasure of traveling with him for a few of those years before he stepped down. His businesses got too big. Had to go to...
That worked out pretty good.
Yeah, that worked out well for him. And for me. I got to do Cowboy Wrestling then. I was just a puppy at that time. I'm an old, crusty old veteran now as he Newley continues to ride it out. Over 3 minutes of riding time, and Bounds hadn't even got his knees under him of late.
So he didn't hit him for selling it all in that third period.
3:10 riding time. McFadden dominates. 5-zip. 28-3 Cowboys. One bout to go in 1 minute. You're listening to Cowboy Wrestling.
Carla Knight is on a crusade to stamp out bad breath. And as a pharmacist at Tiger Drug, she has recruited many to join her in her cause. If you would like to talk to her about it, stop in and bring a Tic Tac to Tiger Drug, 9th and Walnut. A trip to Tiger Drug is like a trip to the Midway. Let Craig Stone guess your weight. Carla Knight wrestle a real alligator handbag. Or marvel at Neil Conkey, the world's tallest midget. Ring the bell and win a prize at 9th and Walnut.
Teamwork and dedication has always been a trademark of Oklahoma State Wrestling, as well as the law firms of Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball. And with a huge staff of attorneys and legal assistants specializing in personal injuries, workman compensations, and Social Security claims, Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball has shared this commitment to you since 1967. It's Betcher Martin Gina Jackson and Betcher Lowball, attorneys at law, Ponca City and Tulsa.
Final battle of the night, Oklahoma State and Oregon of the afternoon, I guess. Cowboys lead the duel 28-3, and here comes the number 1 ranked Cowboy, Johnny Hendricks, out to close it out against Jake McCoy, a true freshman out of Eagle Point, Oregon. 9-8 on the year, meeting the undefeated 22-0 Johnny Hendricks, who's been going through the top 10 at his weight class here for the last couple of weeks, including Friday night, but winning them all. And we'll see what he can do against a true freshman out there to wrestle the 2-time national champion. Johnny hits a duck under, single leg, around behind the man for the takedown, and immediately pushes him away.
Johnny in the middle of a 44-match win streak.
Not bad.
Not too shabby.
Breaks your old record, I
think I had maybe...
There's a takedown for Hendricks again. Hadn't got it yet. Excuse me. Got all the way around behind the guy, but... Finally, with that tight waist, strips him to the mat, scores the takedown. They're off the edge, 4-1, as Hendricks gives up the escape.
Johnny, 115 career wins, currently tied with Tyrone Lewis, Stephen Schmidt, and Chris Pendleton for 14th all-time at OSU. Of course, right here is
a takedown to his back. Johnny caught him in with the underhook, and basically with one arm just threw him to his back. and then laid on him, got the back points out of it, and immediately as he got to his feet, Johnny didn't really have anything else hooked up, just had an underhook, and basically just whipped the man to his back and then laid on him before the man could scramble back to his feet, get off his back. Now Johnny with a fireman's carry gets in underneath there and scores the takedown. And off the edge of the mat as he cuts him loose again. It's all Johnny Hendricks, 8-4.
Just a little clinic so far, which is about what is expected. I mean, Johnny deserves a break. Like you said, he's run through the top 10 the last couple of weeks.
Two wrestlers.
Tough win after tough win.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had the pressure squarely on his shoulders. Beating almost, again, the guys who were all looking to knock him off the throne, and then meeting a who's who of 165-pounders of late. But in underneath for another takedown, Johnny Hendricks, again, just ducks underneath there, gets underneath those shoulders, and then his strength as he wraps that arm around the man and steps behind for the takedown. He'll cut him loose again. 10-5, the lead for Hendricks.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that can turn a bad shot into a takedown. He just doesn't always.
Well, again, he tried that little whip-over maneuver again. Almost got it to work. Now he gets up underneath the arms, underneath the shoulders, and pulls the man forward. And that's Jake McCoy giving up another takedown. Hendricks looks up at the clock. With 10 seconds to go, he'll probably just ride out the rest of this first period. And again, as Roger said, a takedown clinic for Johnny Hendricks in period number 1. 12-5, the lead for the Cowboys senior.
Just your average 6 takedown first period. I've been sitting over there a long time. Johnny doesn't sit still very often. A 14-hour bus ride. Everybody else has crashed out of sleep, and he's got to come up in the front and play cards with us because his motor's always running.
Well, he's down for just a split second. A quick reversal by Hendricks. Not sure what McCoy was trying to do, but it turned ugly in a hurry for him, and Johnny in the down position just flipped positions with him off the whistle and immediately cut him loose. And Johnny right back trying to score another takedown. 14-6, Hendricks with the lead. 1:33 remaining in period number 2. Johnny again with that front headlock, reaches around. Keeps him, again, tied up around the head, reaches back, grabs the ankle, pulls the man forward. Flips up, flops right up on top of him for another takedown there. 16-6. Hendricks leading. And it's been
Johnny probably looking forward to Friday or Saturday as well. Northern Iowa. Next opponent, Bama, one of those guys he wrestled at Cedar Falls that kind of woke him up. Started the tournament on Saturday morning. Bama gave him everything he could handle. Johnny hung on to one at 7-5.
Johnny got that right arm pulled out from underneath. He's right up on the head of McCoy.
And then he gets Paulson on Sunday.
Right.
Right. This is a little bump in the road before you get back to the playoff run, I guess you'd say. I mean, that weekend he had last week, as Coach Smith said, was tougher than the NCAA tournament. You're not going to face
all the guys.
The 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 5 seed, and the 7 seed. That's better than the NCAA tournament. I'm going to give it to him right then, I guess.
Johnny will give up the escape. We're inside of 30 seconds to go in period number 2. He's dominating to the tune of 16-7, and he's over a minute in riding time. There's a double leg takedown for Hendricks. 18-7. Johnny takes a glance at the scoreboard. He thinks this will be enough for the second period anyway. Riding time to 1:40 and counting. And that'll do it for period number 2. 18-7. Hendricks leading with riding time. We'll go to the final 2 minutes, and it will be Jake McCoy in the down position.
On his way to win number 116. That'll put him 1 behind Eric Guerrero, 117, 13th all-time. And, of course, number 12 all-time from 1978 to 82, Ricky Stewart, Oregon assistant coach.
Ricky's standing up, watching right now as Hendricks cuts the man loose. Got a 10-point lead, 18-8. Again, pulls the man to the mat. Now Hook snakes him up. Johnny trying to turn him on his back. Still has him snaked up and does throw him to his back. Pulls him inside the line. And there's the fall. 5 minutes and 28 seconds. So Hendricks finishing it off with a fall. The Cowboys, again, never in danger at all here in this one. Win it 34-3, Roger. And